consciousness. Such a loose word to describe something that's so tremendously vast. And human consciousness in and of itself, what we know of it today, is only perhaps a fraction of the reality of what human consciousness can be.
But this wholeness, this new consciousness, this wholeness, is that something that you can only glimpse? Perhaps in, like, as you might have a glimpse of heaven, or is it something scientific? I mean, can you think your way through it?
Not really completely. Wholeness is an attitude or an approach, but it can be given a scientific realization. You see, we can, if we wish, look on the world as a whole.
And if we get to wholeness, are we then in heaven? I mean, where else is there to go?
We'll never get there, you see.
It's not a place you get
It's
to.
not a place you can get.
It's something you are. It's what you are. All right, that was just a little treat there for you in the beginning. Get you excited about consciousness and the game of life. So, where are we at? I am JD, Nicholas Jensen Denton, the operator at the Pharmacopoeia, of course, as you know. And I'm bringing you in today just so I can show you one or two things that I got going on that I want you to be aware of, that I feel I should remind you of and reiterate the significance of, just because I know we're not all always thinking about it, but I am, and so I got to get it out of my brain and into the public domain. So here we go. Let me show you some. Ignore my Google searches. So this is my webpage, and today I'm going to talk about a medicinal mushroom known as Ganoderma lucida, or other species of the Ganoderma genus, specifically Reishi, which is a common name which applies to a couple different kinds of Ganoderma lucida, Tsuga, and maybe a few others. What has been traditionally known as the immortal mushroom, because it's been used in alchemical recipes to bring about a state of perpetual youthfulness and anti-aging. It's also been used to create very unique extractions, which some of the Taoists claim began to luminesce under light, and you would know only then, when you can read by the light of the extract at night, that the preparation is ready to consume. And that's not quite what we're doing here, however, but what we are doing here actually is found and can be found at jdsPharmacopoeia.com/product/Reishi, where you can read about the optimized extraction protocols right here for extracting specifically Ganoderma lucida, which has been optimized in a comprehensive guide by the Royal Society, one of the original Illuminatis, as I like to call them. And you can find all the information that I pirated off their website at my website, where I'm now uploading a lot of scientific information. Sometimes I'm translating it, sometimes I'm just copy and pasting entire research articles and putting them up for show. Basically, I'm just trying to get the information out there. And one of these informations I'm trying to get out is what you're looking at right now, and also what I got behind me. So I'll come back to that webpage in a second, just show you the information. But if we direct our attention towards the flask here, what you see is a water extraction of Ganoderma tsuga. Okay, and so despite this guy not being able to focus, what you'll notice about it is that this is a rather dark brown liquid that's inside of here. And this is only 1/3 of the extraction that I am submitting this mushroom to. What we have here is the alcohol portion of the extract. It's much lighter, maybe even more closer to the color of the actual mushroom. There's some sediment there on the bottom, which is precipitated out, which can be expected. That you don't really, the struggle of the medicinal plant chemist who's making liquid-based solutions is to get the sediment to dissolve into solution. The fact that it precipitates out isn't a bad thing, because this stuff here is definitely medicinal, it's definitely therapeutic, it's definitely good for you. However, it would be more bioavailable if we could get it into solution. But that's just to say that, shake your tinctures gently so that you can get an even distribution. At any rate, you'll notice first thing is that both of these, which come from the same species of mushroom, and in fact the same mushroom, are notably different in color. And that is because of a universal law in chemistry, which denotes that like dissolves like. And because alcohol is unlike water, an inorganic solvent, alcohol an organic solvent in terms of chemistry, meaning containing a carbon molecule, you get different medicinal constituents from the reishi. And so reishi is rich in, all plants, fungi, all organisms, all of life itself is a complex mixture of chemicals. And if you are looking to feast, nutriate yourself, which is a word I just made up, nutritionally satiate yourself, if you're looking to get medicinal therapeutic actions out of something, what you need to do is extract it. Now, oftentimes eating is a very is the most direct source of getting those, but in many cases you want something a little more potent, something a little more quicker acting, something that's a little bit more effective and quicker acting, as I said, to get the job done. That's why we have plant medicines, because the extraction process that you get out of, or the extraction process that you subject your plants to, becomes very significantly important. And what is done with mushrooms, basically? Well, I just want to draw your attention to the difference in composition here, because in the water composition, what I've done and what I've concluded is that you want to subject your medicinal mushrooms, generally speaking, I can't make an all or nothing recommendation here, but in many cases, you want to do the water extractions first and then subject your mushrooms to the alcohol extraction in order to retain the complete or a more complete range of bioactive constituents and medicinal therapeutic agents, because alcohol ruptures the cell walls of cells. It ruptures cell walls, it denatures proteins, and it oftentimes can have damaging effects to more volatile constituents of a cell, of an organism, of a mushroom, of a plant. And so the reason I say water first is because in a cell, so let me draw a very little quick thing here for you. Basically, what you got is a cell. You have a membrane, which is the cell wall. Let's call this a cell. Now, the cell is rich in different types of compounds that come out of the cell wall. Now, these cell walls, these compounds are often where the most immunomodulating, immunoregulating agents are, what we are termed as polysaccharides. Now, that is not to say there aren't polysaccharides inside of the cell, because there are. The vacuole, which is the main storage unit of the cell, usually taking up like 90% of the space in it, stores a whole litany, like most of the secondary metabolites. However, by the time they come into use, they are escorted to the cell membrane and then either integrated into the cell. This is actually a double layered membrane which separates a water loving phase from a water hating phase. And so you're actually going to find a lot of useful components within that double layer. However, what water does is, because it's not an organic solvent and we've got a hydrophobic layer here, is that water will not permeate the cell wall except with very small quantities through proteins called aquaporins, which are responsible for bringing water into the cell. Funny name, aquaporin. So one thing I want to get across is that, and like I say, water's not going to rupture the cell wall. That doesn't mean it's not going to get things from inside of the cell, but it is going to get things from inside of the cell, just not as nearly great of quality or quantity as would rupturing the cell wall and exposing the internal organs to the solution. That will get like much more material available to an extract to the solution to be dissolved and retained. And so no one thing is perfect. Like, everything dissolves in everything to a certain degree. And what a chemist or an alchemist or an alchemistry's person's to an extracting specialist goal to a plant medicine practitioner, the goal is to optimize those ratios. And so what we want to do in this instance is use water first, because it will not break down the cell wall. It'll only enter into the cell in very small amounts, and then it will basically cleave off all of these outer constituents, which will then leave the cell intact and then separate those constituents into a something that you could retain and set aside, so that you can then move on to a more say damaging, but a more invasive extraction technique, if you will. And that's where alcohol comes into play. So what this is, actually, the Royal Society did a lot of good work for us. They said 62.5% alcohol was the ideal optimal temperature for the highest yield of terpenoids, of polyphenols, and of gallic acid, I do believe. So what that means is that in this solution here, we're going to have a rich triterpenoid content. In this solution here, we will have no triterpenoid content. Opposed to that, we will have polysaccharides, including beta-glucans, including all sorts of different long-chain sugars, which have the immunoregulating, anti-aging properties that Ganoderma lucida is so specially known for. This one, we're going to have other compounds with other properties: antioxidizing, anti-inflammatory. We're going to have a lot more vitamins, and we're going to have a lot more amino acids, a lot of things that will be responsible for the anti-fatigue nature of the mushroom, a lot of things that are responsible for the prebiotic effects of the mushroom, and Then finally, what is happening outside right now is there is a calcination going on. So I'm going to put me down here again into the bottom. And then what we have going on outside, well, real quick before I move on, here you're going to see a comparison of different solvents: water, methanol, ethyl acetate, DCM, that's dichloromethane, 1 chlorine away from chloroform. Then you have hexane. The DCM has a very high, very good extracting use, but as a natural medicine, natural product provider, I'm trying to stay away from using solvents that you can't readily acquire from nature. That being said, the next highest yielding solvent was water. So water is, if you open any chemistry textbook, when they start talking about water, one of the first things that they'll say is that it is the universal solvent. In a lot of cases, I've found this to be true. Water is an excellent solvent, especially if you can alter the pH of it. And so as we move forward into the extraction, we've got a whole range of secondary metabolites, specialized metabolites, medicinal metabolites, as you're seeing here, all the ganaderic acids, which are unique triterpenoids from Reishi. The principle, this is just a handful. There's probably hundreds, maybe thousands of different compounds that are unique to Reishi mushrooms within this extract. However, the ganaderic acid class, which is a triterpenoid, meaning 30 different carbons on here, are responsible for some of the principal bioactions that we find, are going to be hopefully taken completely out of the mushroom body. And then what we do is a nutritional mineral extraction on the mushroom. This is done through calcination, crystallization, and then recombination of the 3 separate essences, the 3 separate extracted products into one solution, which is the spagyric essence. And so here you're just going to see like a brief list of the sugar, the total sugars, the principal minerals being potassium, phosphorus, sulfur, magnesium, sodium, calcium. If you're on that sad standard American diet, you're going to have a lot of sodium, but that's good. It's not rich in sodium. It seems to have the most potassium, phosphorus, and sulfur. Sulfur is an underlooked organic compound from an organic chemist standpoint, CNOH. Sulfur is the hidden fifth. 99% of the sad standard American diets are, 99% of people in America, statistically speaking, are deficient in potassium. Definitely same with magnesium. We're all mineral deficient in truth. More on that coming later. How we're going to solve it is through an organic rich diet and also through plant medicine that includes the mineral content of plants, fungi, and other consumables. So you've got trace minerals: copper, manganese, iron, zinc. So what this is saying basically is that reishi mushroom is going to be rich. It's going to be at least 135% more rich in these minerals than your standard reishi tinctures. Now that is something that is unique, again, to spagyric medicine. You're also going to have a lot more vitamins. These will likely come out in the alcohol portion of the extract. That's thiamine, riboflavin, principally niacin, pyridoxine, ascorbic acid. These are all essential. Like, essential means that our body cannot produce it. We need to get it from the environment in order to have optimal health. And all this other stuff is just specialized, temporary, secondary. It's really the minerals that are primary. That is the foundation of good health, is proper mineral intake, otherwise known as orthomolecular therapy. You can read that further on the blog. But really, I just wanted to bring to your attention the fact that Ganoderma Ganoderma Suga is back in stock. If you need it, give me a shout. We're doing the extract. What's going to happen next is I'm going to dissolve this completely in my Rotovap and then get rid of the water and then dissolve those compounds back into the alcohol extract and then reduce this down to a proper concentration so that we can have good medicine on our hands, which will hopefully improve the quality of our life, the quality of our minds, the quality of our bodies, because that's the ultimate goal here. Heal thy body, heal thyself, heal thy mind, as within, so without. If you want to change the world, change yourself. Begin by changing yourself, and then we can change the world. I don't know any other better way to do that than through radical self-work, and also maybe some plant guides, teachers, agents, or other natural products which might help along the way. I've recently decided that let's see, what time am I at? 21 minutes. Okay, anything that helps somebody live, helps somebody feel better, helps somebody get healthier, is worth investigating and worth propagating. So you're going to be finding that I'm going to do a lot of more different kinds of products here. I'm really going to stick to natural products, but you're going to see a great expansion of types of medicines coming out of this pharmacopoeia. On that note, stay tuned. Thank you for listening if you made it this far. Again, I'm JD, Nicholas Jensen Denton. If you want to talk further, I'm always here for it. Gemini, hello, fellow Geminians. I'm here to talk about plant medicine and spirituality, or metaphysics, consciousness, what have you. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much for joining me. Check out the pharmacopoeia, check out the library, check out the recommended reading, and have a grand existence.